Pixpro Labs live show. Wow, time flies so fast. 10. That's an amazing milestone achieved by me and my guests. And I'm so super happy that from just an idea of getting started with live streaming and now airing episode number 10 with almost 4,000 views a week and growing, that's thanks to you. All of this is happening because of you all. Thank you for tuning into this live show, sharing, commenting, asking questions, and especially a good thank you to all my special guests. For those who haven't seen the show before or met me in person, I'm Sarah Watz, and I'm the CEO of Pixpro Labs, and I'm also the host of this live show. Our mission at Pixpro Labs is to help Joomla businesses grow. And one way of making that happen is for me to host this weekly live show. I am so super stoked and I'm so honored to be able to invite people running Joomla businesses all over the world and talk about business, talk about life, and of course, we talk about Joomla. Please help us share this show with your friends. We can get more views. We can share this to more people to get experience what Joomla business can be all about. And you can share it while we're live or you can share the replay. And since this is a live show, I love to ask your questions to my guests. It's so super simple. It's just typing in your questions into the comments, and then it's easy for me to feature the question on the screen and ask my special guest the question for you. Give us also some feedbacks with emoji. You can click on them multiple times during the show so we know what part of the show that resonates with you most. Okay, so with no further ado, I will introduce my guest for this episode. Welcome, Søren Beck Jensen from Jensen Technologies.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. I think the last time we met was at JM Beyond, and now the World Conference is around the corner. So
yeah, we'll be going there as well.
I've been looking forward to have this conversation with you for some time now, so welcome. Let's start by introducing yourself to us all and telling us a little bit more about you, where you're from and where you live.
Right, well, as you said, my name is Søren. I am a Danish citizen living in Spain, and I've been living in Spain for 12 years, where I also run my business. I started my business here 12 years ago. Just me, a single person, and slowly I got my first employee, and I've grown the business since then. I've been doing web stuff since 1994, so wow. I'm a bit of a veteran. Yeah. In fact, I was my claim to fame is I was the first employee in Denmark's first web company. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there were some founders that were there before me, but I was the first employee. And so, yeah, I've been doing this a long time. I was involved in building Lego's first website and Tivoli Gardens it's many years ago, and I've been living in Spain now for many years.
So how come you moved? Except for the weather, I guess, like here in Sweden right now, it's raining cats and dogs, and I guess you have a beautiful place right now.
Yeah, we once I'm done here, I might jump in the pool. It's still nice and warm. Really, that is one of the main reasons. A different attitude to life, a different, more kind of relaxed attitude, and just adventure, really. But at the time, I was living in England. And in England, they have these TV shows they show all the time that is home away, and where they take like a couple that is looking for a house and they present them, okay, to in England, you could buy this villa with an ocean view in Spain. Where are you gonna live? And so I was sitting there having my tea and feeling cold in England, and fell for it and decided to seek my luck in Spain.
So when you started your business, you said you started by yourself and now you have more employees. How did that growth come from?
actually, when I started, I just started helping people install broadband installations and remove viruses from their computers and stuff like that, with the aim of starting to build websites, because I knew that and I had that experience already. Although this was pre-Joomla. So I would, as I was talking to these people who were quickly spreading around, I would say, and I can also do websites. And so I slowly started getting my first few clients for websites. And in the beginning, they were all real estate based, because down here is lots of, in the southern coast of Spain, lots of foreigners who come down here who want to start businesses here. And what they typically start is real estate based. So it can be a rental agency or a real agency. And I got a couple of rather large clients and portals and stuff like that, and got involved in that. And everything I was building was in Joomla as soon as I had that tool. And then, I managed to hire my first employee speaking kid who lived in the village that I also lived in, but I needed somebody who could speak English. And here in this part of Spain, well, all of Spain, to be honest, the English. I instead of trying to find a technical person and teaching in English, I took an English person and taught him some technical stuff. And he left the company many years ago, but he's now a lead front-end developers. Hi, Chris, somewhere in London, earning much more money than I ever will. Little and I've had that for the past 5 years or so.
Okay, so what do you help your clients with now? Is it still like websites, or is it more of something else?
This is I'm going to put names right now, because we kind of have several business units. And it's called, I know it's not very imaginative, but my employees actually said that they thought that would be a good name, because Jensen is kind of a Scandinavian name and shows that it's foreigner owned, and they believe that's a good thing here in Spain. So that's the overall company, but we don't really promote Jensen Technologies. Business units within Jensen Technologies, not web design. And not web design is our client-facing part of the business, where we build, there's traditionally websites for clients. That has been at some point reduced to about a third of our business, but as lately has increased again, and is now about 50% of our business. The other 50% is made out of two services that we're running and making money on. One of them is Joomla Creator, where we have 50,000 Joomla developers using Component Creator to build extensions for Joomla. And the other one is a website called Automatic Backlinks, which is a link exchange service. It's built in Joomla, but other than that, it doesn't really have anything to do with Joomla. But it's an automatic link exchange service, and it's one of the biggest quality link exchange services that exist, and that is really a big part of our business. So there are those three things that are kind of separate, and then we've started up several other things. We kind of have a startup mentality in my business, and where we try and build something and throw it out there and see if it works. And so there's been several fiascos, several things we've tried that has not worked. But those three things is where we get the income from.
Okay. Was it like, it seems like you have this startup mentality. Is it because you don't feel challenged if you don't create something and get in like this entrepreneurial spirit, or is it because of you wanted to grow your business and gain more money?
It's definitely the entrepreneurial and the funness of building something and seeing it grow and seeing if you can make it grow and seeing if it'll work. When I built Automatic Backlinks, I woke up in a cold sweat at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I just had the idea. It was like boom, and this is many years ago, before these things really existed. And I worked, I kid you not, probably 14 hours a day for 3 months until I had built it. And that was just me personally. and that kind of energy you only get by creating. And I think all of us who have ever worked with clients and clients coming to you with a project have felt the frustration of working with clients. It's nice that they pay you, obviously, and sometimes you get really good clients who are really also excited and listen to what your years of experience. But more often than not, the client tend to stand in the way of their own success, and they, I'll have a client come to me and say, yeah, it doesn't matter what you're saying about payment gateways and secure hosting and all of this. I just want a spinning logo. And they focus on the wrong things often. And so I find, and I think most service providers find, that it can be clients, especially if you have an eye on their end success. You want them to be successful, and they're constantly trying to trick themselves into not being successful by taking bad. So for that reason, also for the employees, they much prefer working on our own internal projects, because they find, we can see the end result. If it's successful, it's because we've done something good, And I've actually had that kind of problem with motivation of the employees. Is they, for instance, they all love working on Component Creator all the time. If they could do it, they would do it all the time, because we get a lot of praise for Component Creator. People love service mainly, and then we have a paid additional service. So there's lots of people who are getting real benefit out of it, both free and paid users, and they love talking about it. They love tweeting about it. They love so all the employees love working on it. But sometimes we have to then also work on this other project where there's a client paying us for stuff, because honestly, the Component Creator is not huge commercial success financially. It's just trickling over. It's roughly paying for an employee a month.
Yeah, and I think that's the sometimes the downsides. You see that you have an extension that really, or a service that really is having a place in the marketplace, but maybe you cannot price it the right way or market it the right way, so you can get the benefit of actually getting paid for what you came up with.
I think pricing is very difficult. We at one point we started looking at Component Creator and we were like, okay, so what is a fair price for this? And then we were like, well, you take an agency in the UK, they're going to be charging, I don't know, £100 as a high-end agency. Well, let's say they charge £50 an hour, right? Or they'll charge £100. By using Component Creator, you can save easily 5 hours, maybe 10, up to 100 hours on building a component, right?
Yeah.
So you take that hourly rate and you multiply it, and suddenly Component Creator becomes very valuable to that one customer. And they could save thousands, literally thousands of pounds or euros or whatever it is, when building a complex Joomla component. So for them, we would love to charge them, okay, 500. There you go. You still save thousands. You pay us 500, right? But then on the other end, we looked, lots of the companies that were using us were in India, and they might charge $10 an hour. And they have to find value in using Component Creator as well. If they don't find value in it, it's easier to say to a programmer and pay him $5 an hour and make him write a component than it is to pay Component Creator. So for a while we marked all the countries in the world that were developing countries. So if you were based in a developing country, you got 50% discount on our prices.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, but it was in recognition of the fact that we wanted to, but we also, if we were to get paying customers from those countries, we had to price it so low, right? Because it's all about value. You save X amount of hours and money in different countries. So pricing is very difficult. If the more successful Joomla companies based in lower priced countries where Well, there's people actually all over the world who have 6. I mean, Sweden is not a cheap country.
No. And I would not do client work for 50 euros or an hour.
No.
So yeah, I think that, like, I saw your presentation about component creator, I think in Poland the first time. And then I saw the value of it, and my team has now started working with it and are super happy, because it's like you say, it saves them time, even if they know exactly how to do it themselves. It's just that programmers are lazy. If they can be lazy, they do short amount of codes and short amount of documentation, and like if you can short the time from idea to actually finalizing a product, that would be amazing for a programmer.
And that's why I developed it, because I'm lazy. I was bored with having to do the same thing again and again. So it started out as a very simple tool for me and for us internally to just quickly get a component up and running. And actually, the code that it writes is all the boring code. Any developer will tell you it's all the repetitive stuff that you have to do every time that is boring. So you can go straight into developing what is actually unique and special about this particular Joomla extension. And that's why many Joomla developers love you.
And that's also why I invited you to be part of the show, because I think that if a Joomla developer or a Joomla shop that likes to create extensions that are customized, this is going to help them grow their business by taking the mundane work out of the way, quality safeguard the mundane work, and actually do what they can do best and like and enjoy. And I think that is something that is very helpful for them to grow, like take in more clients or be able to free up more work to be able to do more for less.
Or even to build something much faster, you can charge less for it, right? And I know that we are the backbone of a whole almost industry based out of the Far East and Vietnam. There's who literally built thousands of Joomla components using Component Creator, and so we must be somehow a backbone part of their offering.
Yeah,
and they're probably companies that are mainly bidding on projects on similar services, and people who asking for very little money want to have something built, but using Component Creator, they can kind of do it.
And I also think that people that are just starting out doing and creating their first component ever, instead of starting from scratch, they can have like a boosting board to get started. So they know that they're going to do the right thing when they start a component or an extension. So I think that is also really helpful for new beginners that just want to get started the right way.
That's absolutely true, and in fact we try to, or we say, and we have heard, we did a big survey of all our users, and I think the third highest feature that people felt were really the true benefit of component. So it's not only getting up and getting out of the gate in the right way, but it's like maybe you've gotten stuck trying to build something by coding it by hand, and then you go into Component Creator and you click a button and it writes the code for you, and you go, I should have put that in the controller and that in the view. Now I get it, right? So in that sense, I believe it's a big learning tool, and it definitely can be a good thing for a beginning developer, or even somebody who might be a developer with a lot of experience, but who would like to get into Joomla with that.
So the other product that we have seen you market before, like I just want to say something. I saw you market this at, I think, J & Beyond. You had a T-shirt that you gave out, and you said he's using, or I am using, the Component Creator, and you took a lot of selfies, and there was a lot of social media around it. It was really creative of how to do the social media buzz around your component. So you've done a lot of good things that I've been seeing, and I just want to give some feedback to you and say, hey, that was something that struck a lot of people's egos. At the same time, they wanted to share their happiness about what you bring to their table when it comes to offering better business for them, and taking advantage of that. And that was something that I saw that could really be inspiring for other people.
It was an idea I had because, I've been going to a lot of these Joomla events now, and most people know who I am, and most people know Component Creator. But what some people, especially developers, they can be a little bit off guard. They can be a little bit like, well, I would never use something that would write code for me. I'm too good for that. I can write my own code, But that's not really the point of Component Creator. The point is it saves you writing. And so a lot of respected Joomla developers are using Component Creator. And I wanted those people who are not necessarily willing to save time, to know that there are actually lots of peers among them who are. And that was the whole idea with that. Instead of just prancing around wearing another Component Creator t-shirt, I thought taking a lot of selfies and by generating social media and stuff like that. And I think that worked really well.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of developers think marketing and sales are challenging in their business. And if we can inspire them to be creative without saying, hey, come and buy, we can actually thank people that are already using our things that we have created, and they can explain what their experience has been. And that's not kind of selling, but it's serving and giving acknowledgement and giving thanks at the same time. So being creative in a way of doing that was something that I want to thank you for actually showcasing that that's possible.
We did another thing that I thought was creative. Many people are not familiar with it because we have not really been promoting it, but we also have a translation extension for Joomla called Nano Translate, which is actually a really nice piece of software that we've really gotten around to promoting. We use it ourselves, and we've just developed a crowd-in extension for it, and we're quite excited about it internally. But at a huge Joomla event, and I think you were attending, I was not attending myself, but at a huge Joomla event in Italy, we wanted to promote this translation thing. And we didn't have a lot of money because we're not making any money on this because we're giving it away for free. It's open source, and still nobody's hardly using it. But we wanted to try and promote it in a cheap way. So what we did at this Joomla event in Italy, there was about 1,000 speakers, yourself included, I think, and Brian Tiemann went to this event. And so what we paid a small amount to have the live translators who were translating from English to Italian during your presentations to wear our Nano Translate t-shirts. So, with the connection of translation and a translator, and so if you think outside of the box, I think you can often find a creative way to get your products. But honestly, it's not where I have a lot of experience, but we don't tend to actually promote our services very much ourselves. Certainly our professional service, where we build websites for clients, we have never ever promoted. We have only gone by word of mouth, and people seeing, sometimes we put a signature at the bottom of a website we build, or people finding us on Google or something like that, but Google Organic. It's just happened by itself. We've never promoted it.
So you get a good amount of referrals then too, that people are talking good to you and saying, hey, I'm a happy customer. And if someone asks them who helped you, they refer those clients to you. Okay.
Yeah, and a client who comes like that is a very hot client and somebody who will most likely turn into a client. Whereas somebody who has found you into 5 other clients that he found in Google and does not really have any connection with you whatsoever. He's just he's asking you and he's asking 5 other people. And in the end will most likely take the cheapest solution and regret it later. But that's what I find at service business, that the people who come to us already with a referral or some kind of trust or some kind of personal relationship or or that I've met. It could even, some clients I found, like I've gone to somebody's house for dinner, and then somebody sitting across from me said, "Oh, you build websites? Okay, well, maybe," those kind of connections are more important for finding clients, at least if you want to build quality stuff, which we do. I always say we are not going to be the cheapest, and we don't want to be the cheapest. And I think if that's your business strategy, you should consider changing your business strategy, because it's just going to be a race to the bottom in both terms of price, but also quality. And that will eventually, so if you only deliver poor quality, which you have to do if you're not charging enough for your services, then you will not get this referral. You will not get people say, "Oh, well, actually, that's a really good solution that they built," because it won't be a really good solution if you only charge bottom dollars for it.
And at the same time, if it's cheap, you might not think it's quality. If it's cost you more money, you achieve, like, your interpretation of the work is more quality as well. And I think that by charging them these fair amount of money that you do, you also have the possibility to create the quality and wow them as clients. So they are so happy with what you have achieved with them. So they can't help themselves by saying, "Hey, I know someone that can help you too."
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story about that. I had a personal contact through my daughter's school. Her was the CEO of one of the very few rather large companies that are in this region. And he heard that I built websites and had the international approach and did quality work, and so he wanted us to quote for building a website for him. And I really wanted this client because I could see a long-term future relationship and a really in this area, because it would be one of the big companies and it would be a feather in my hat. And so we pushed hard to get the quote low and to because we just wanted to make sure we got this client. And they came back to us and said, we've asked you and we've asked another client, and they charge more than double than you, and we fractured the task we've given you. So you've charged us too little. We cannot accept your quote.
Yeah.
So it really can go that way as well.
Absolutely. And I think that that's something to think of. If someone is really expensive, they also think that they are really, really good and really professional. If you're a startup and you just do your first reference work that you have to do, so you have some good references on your website, that's different. Then you can price quote it, say, "Hey, here's would be my original price. I'm going to give you a better price because you are one of my first clients, but I would like to have some possibility to use your case to showcase it on my site." That's why you get the lower price. But then afterwards, you need to actually bump your price up, because otherwise you feel like you are more than an amateur, more than a professional.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I was when I was looking through all the links and everything around your business, I saw your Facebook page, and Facebook just rolled up a new feature a couple of months ago, I think. And I don't know that everyone around the world actually have this feature yet, but you have the video cover photo as a video instead of a photo. And it's really good. It's like with a drone or something. I don't know how you made it, but it's like really, really a good team feeling, that you immediately get that feeling that you have by just watching your Facebook video. So I think that is also something that I haven't seen anyone in the Joomla sphere do yet. So I think, yeah, you're the first one I saw.
The header image, yeah. With that video. But only recently did I add it to the header, because I noticed that you could add it to the header. It works really well, actually. Those kind of things is kind of, I like to sit and mess with it and get it good when I have time. Unfortunately, I don't have that much time for that kind of, and it's because we have these different business units, there's always something to promote. We have a Facebook Technologies for not web design, for component creator, for Nano Translate, for automatic backlinks, and then on top of that, we manage several clients' Facebook marketing. So there's always something to update or sink your teeth into.
Yeah, and I think that's the key point that you said. We're not promoting ourselves too much, but you do some things that actually is promoting you, but they are subtle, they are not that expensive, and kind of everyone can do something kind of equal with not that too much investments, and it's not too time consuming. So that's what I think is really good role model that you are to other people as well.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, in that sense, we do promotion in that our profiles are there, and we will write blog posts and we will do stuff like that to attract attention, but we don't pay for advertising. And really, we have not attended trade shows and stuff like that with our service-minded business. We have originally one of the questions you're supposed to ask me is how did I get involved in the Joomla community, and the way I got involved to self-promote myself in the Joomla community or promote Component Creator in the Joomla community. So I was like, I'll go to one of these Joomla things, just to see what it's all about. And so
when was that? When was the first time you came into Joomla?
The very first time was about 6 years ago, something like that, where I got into the community. And I did that by attending J and Beyond. I just decided I'm going to go. And in fact, I think I might have been sponsoring with Component Creator and speaking about Component Creator at that very first time. And then, of course, I met a bunch of wonderful people who are all super excited about Joomla and contributing and getting stuff done with Joomla. And honestly, in the beginning, I was like, yeah, but what's your business? How are you going to make money from doing that? And how, I didn't really get it. I didn't get this whole spirit in the beginning. I was there to promote my business, and I was like, I don't know, imagine some businessman walking into a hippie commune or something like that. Like, yeah, but you all talk about love and peace, but where's the bottom line, But I got caught up in it, and out of the pureness of my heart almost, but simply because I feel like I'm building something bigger than me, and I'm contributing to something bigger than me. So this spirit that exists in the Joomla community it totally rubs off on you, and it gets you excited and involved. And I was involved in 2 teams before I left that first J and Beyond. I think that's me as a person as well. I love getting involved, but I think most people who pass by that kind of thing can easily be recruited simply by the energy and the passion.
So when did you start using Joomla in your business?
Well, I did that many years. I started it when it was called Mambo. We built our first website. I used to use something called PHP Nuke before that for building websites, and it was terrible. And then I discovered Mambo, which was really good at the time. And then just as I discovered it and built my first website, there was a split, and I went with Joomla like everybody else. And so I've been doing since for 12 years. I hear. Is it like yesterday was the 12-year birthday of Joomla or something like that?
Yeah. So you didn't know that there was a community around it so much, or you did know there was a community, but you were not involved?
Yeah, I did know that there was a community, or at least there was people. I thought really the Joomla conference I was going to was going to be a bunch of businesses coming together to try and promote their own thing, which it is to some extent, right? Yeah. But to me, and what I discovered is that it was much more than that. I didn't fully understand at the time that it was 100% community driven, and that there was not a company behind it. I was just a user. I just downloaded the software and used it. For me, it was a very technical thing. It's just something I needed. And then I developed Component Creator and stuff like that. And then, I was surprised that there was all these people who were eager their spare time and even their work time into building it and getting it up and running, and that they needed my help too. That's totally surprised me. And then there's all these wonderful people that I now call friends, that I have met through Joomla. That being at least twice a year now. For J and Beyond, the World Conference is almost a must.
And at one of the J and Beyond events, you were part of the like after hours sessions where we have more like celebration and having a talent show, you can say, that's outside the coding business. Why did you like enroll in that, and what was it?
I watched it for a couple of years, sitting going like, I wish I had the nerve to be up there, because, you know, I like a bit of attention. I like a bit of being on the stage. But I was too shy. But then one year I was like, somebody posted some quote. I remember there was a quote that got me inspired, and it was like, life begins when you get outside of your comfort zone. And that I read that quote just when they were asking for submissions to this talent show, and I was like, oh, damn it, I'll do it. Okay, I'll do it. Life begins when you're outside of your comfort zone. And I was outside of my comfort zone, but I love to sing. I have a piano, I play the guitar, and I do that to sing, and not because I'm particularly good at it, but it's just something that gives me pleasure.
And I think that
so
please continue.
Yeah, I wrote a song based on, it's actually a tradition in Denmark, and I think it is in Sweden as well. When we have a family party, we will take famous songs, not famous, but traditional songs, Danish songs, and we will change the words, and we will make them about the person, and we'll write down the words, and everybody sings along using a piece of paper on a very known melody. And I did that with the Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. I changed that to Joomla, and then I changed all the words, and I sang that song, and yeah, I won the contest, and I think Joomla is almost like a famous song in Joomla now.
Yeah, it's kind of the song. You brought that to the community as a gift that people are now using over and over again when they want to celebrate Joomla. And I think that's, like, I brought the heart to Joomla, and just we use different things that serves the community to come around something and like have that common picture of what we actually do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just telling my son Philip when I was coming to work, and he said, "Oh, who are you going to have as a special guest today?" And I said, "Like, I'm going to have Søren." He's like, "Yes, I remember. I was in Mexico, and we did this song with the happy song, and you were at one of the elite scenes in that show where you were sitting with your computers in the bar and coding." And he said, like, I remember Søren.
Well, I remember him, but not, well, from Mexico as well. But the first time I met him was at a J and Beyond, I think, where he was with you, and your husband was there as well. But he sat down and he got involved in one of the teams as being 11 years old or something like that, and learned how to. We were like standing in a corner in awe of your son being able to contribute to Joomla. You know? Yeah, I remember that as a wonderful moment.
Thank you. Yeah, the first time he went to one of the Joomla conferences was actually the second World Conference in Boston, and that's when he discovered what the Bug Squad fun thing in the evening was, and he was bringing beer to everybody, and then he was learning how to actually do some testing. So he's been joining them for some of the conferences as well since then. Okay, so when we're thinking about like building your team, how hard has it been to build your team in Spain? Has it been something that you have, when now you contribute into Joomla, you have found people through the Joomla community to recruit, or has it been that it's been local people? Like, how is your team set up?
Well, I've tried actually to recruit a couple of Joomla people, but they are all like refusing to move here.
I don't know why.
No, well, they're already in Spain, so they already have the. it has actually been one of the biggest challenges for me growing my business, has been finding employees. And it's kind of odd because Granada University has a really good IT department, and there is lots of really qualified developers coming out of it. But the problem is speaking English. All my employees have to be able to speak English because we have a lot of international clients who they have to be able to communicate with and understand, or at least understand the communication that I've had or the project managers had, so that they can take it and turn it into code, right? So that's been the hardest part for me, finding English-speaking employees. In fact, I'm doing a little bit of a talk about that in Rome. I've gotten a talk accepted. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say that because it's not been published yet, but I'm doing a talk called When in Rome, and it's about cultural differences of growing a business as a country and those kind of things. So I'm just plugging that talk right now.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, my aim is to try and make it funny. But anyway, that has been a problem. And initially, as I said, I hired the English-speaking kid and trained him up on how to be technical, and he was very adept at it. And then I did the same with another English-speaking kid, and he was exactly the same. He's a PHP developer now and has a huge career. He moved to Barcelona, and but since then I started to attract more local. And in fact, all my employees now who speaks some English and who have been with me for years, most of them, and they are technical, although not all of them. I got like an office manager, a project manager, and a marketing person. But other than that, they're code monkeys. You know, they're like me. I'm personally a technical person, and that's where my passion and my love is. But lately, I don't get to code as much as I would like to.
So, what kind of one of the questions that usually comes up is, what kind of software do you use for collaborating with your clients and with your team?
We use the Google Apps suite extensively. We use all parts of it, and with love. It really has helped us from the Gmail to the Google and in Google Forms, and we use it all, and we love it, and that's a very big part of it. Besides that, we've been a lot, which is like a Kanban board, if you're not familiar with it.
Yeah.
The problem we're having with that, we all love to use it because the interface is so smooth and wonderful. But the problem with it is that it doesn't give you an overview company-wide. You can get an overview on a project, but because we were working on so many projects at the same time, we can't really get an overview. And then we get another client walking in the door and says, so if I'm gone out and when will it be finished? We can't tell them that. We don't have that overview. And so we're currently migrating to another project management system, which honestly I cannot remember what it's called right now.
When you know, you can put that into the comments and share.
Yeah. And that's going to give us more. In fact, we're not 100% sure we're going to settle on this particular one because we can't find one that gives us exactly what we need, which is kind of like we need to be able to say, we need to kind of have a Gantt chart. If you know what a Gantt chart is, where you put kind of this, you cannot start this until this is done.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, if I move this to do it on Thursday, then this has to be moved to Friday, right? Project management tool. There are some, but they're quite expensive because we're a small team, and as soon as they see that you are a team, then they want to chat. And you know, we're based in a different economy than Northern Europe or United States. Our hourly rate is 46 euros an hour, and so services are a little bit prohibitive for us cost-wise. But we use Trello a lot and Google Apps, and Google Hangouts we use a lot, and of course Component Creator and Joomla.
Yeah, I think that's a good selection of tools that you have. We also use a lot of Google's suite and done for years. We have a really old account that's totally free. So we were one of the first one to sign up, I think. That's why.
Yeah, we have also everything free. But in fact, I just saw the other day, that could be a hint for you if there's any new business owners who want to start up, that you can actually buy domains that have a Google Apps free account attached to it, and they're not that expensive. Like one-time fee, $50 to $100, and then using that domain name, you can always park another domain on top. So you can basically get free Google Apps domains by searching for something like that.
That's a good advice. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I was not aware, but I stumbled over it, and there's hundreds of those available, and I think they sell for like $50, which is what you pay almost if you have to pay for it.
So in our business, when it comes to our agency part of our business, we're getting more and more questions now about the new law in the EU when it comes to privacy policy called GDPR. And they are asking, how are we going to deal with this? What is the solution? How can we have a meeting around this and see how our software is supporting those kind of laws? Is the same thing coming from your end, because you're also placed in Europe, that companies are now asking for advice around this?
We might have different types of clients, I think. It's not something, honestly, we've heard about. It's something I know about because I am the department coordinator for the legal and finance team in Joomla.
Yeah.
And in there, I'm involved in this. But business-wise, it's not really something people. When this was presented to me, it's like, oh, now we have this new thing. Before it was the cookie law, and now we have this new thing. I mean, we've always had data protection, but now it's changing, right? And my team came to me, and we're all almost obsessed and stressed about it. And I said, don't be obsessed and stressed about it. Treat it like a business opportunity.
Yeah.
Because we have lots of clients who will need to get their stuff up to date. So let's get wise about it. Let's learn about it. And then let's contact them all and say, hey, did you know you're missing something? Let us provide the service to you. And that's how I think you should see those kinds of things.
Yeah, I absolutely see it as a business opportunity for every company that provides services around the web in the EU. And I think that even if the law is not going to, I think, be feasible until like April or something, I think that having this kind of opening door to discussion, maybe calling clients you haven't been talking to for a while, there is a good opportunity for having a new conversation and actually getting some more leads into the door by raising this question, by sharing this information on social media and say, hey, if you are this, and if you don't know how this is going to impact your business, I'm here for a conversation, and you can help them with both the strategy wise and also maybe with the implementation of what needs to be done.
Definitely. And it's not only that, can be used to create business and by knocking on doors. Yeah.
And also Google has now, I think it's like, is it this month or next month that they are going to, in some of the web browsers like Chrome, there will be information that if you don't have a HTTPS website secure with a certification, you will have a notification. And that's also an opportunity for you to reach out to your clients and talk about those things.
Exactly. And that's, I mean, luckily and unluckily, we are in a business sector that moves extremely fast. And there's always something new and something you need to read up on and learn on and figure out and really advise your clients in, whether or not it's, I don't know, the latest responsive framework or whatever, but then it's with and say, listen, this is a new thing going to be in Google, or you can now start accepting Bitcoin or whatever. There's just so much new stuff happening all the time that, and they give you that key to come and sell into your existing clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that if you don't want to gain more clients, you can gain more work at existing clients that you have and grow your business that way as well. So it's I think that most people feel like they are disturbing their clients when they call them and say something. But if you have valuable information, you would be heroes in their lives by saying, hey, they are not interested in all those things in their business because they have their own business. But this is actually your expertise or something that you could learn more about to be the expert on, and serve them with that information and say, hey, are you aware and how can I help you?
Well, I think also if we're talking about giving people business advice, then I think become the expert. And by that, I mean become the expert in something. Like we are the expert in quickly generating Joomla components, right? You are the expert in providing Joomla. I mean, talk about niche. You are an expert in providing Joomla businesses with advice for how to grow. I mean, that's a niche, right? But you are the expert in that niche. And if somebody needs that kind of advice, they know where to go. Joomla component, they know where to go. And that is probably my single most point of advice to anybody having a business or growing a business is become an expert. Doesn't matter what you do. If you try to claim that you can do it all, nobody's going to believe you, and nobody's going to be willing to pay you a lot of money for what you do. But if you say, we don't know it all, but we know this and we're really good at it, then you can charge more, and you can also actually be that. You can learn that area and become good at it, and sell your services or goods or products in a much better way.
Yeah, and I think that that's the key. Like some people think that you have to serve everyone and anyone that has money, and instead of really niching down, like you say, I am an expert at creating components for Joomla. Like that's a small niche, but it's really big if you look at it from a global perspective. And if you look at that point for some people that feel like I cannot sell to one niche people, they could, because there's an immense market if you are the expert and you create the market space for you. And so I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, even if what you're doing now is just building websites, for instance, using Joomla, there's always, it could be that they're multilingual. It could be that they all had a big footer. It could be that they all were in the medical business or something like that. But based on pure coincidence, you can also focus. And for several years, I was very focused on real estate, like I said, because out of pure coincidence, that's where all my business was coming. And I learned a lot about the real and building real estate websites. And so for many years, we were very focused on that. And we are actually now more focused on building tourist sector websites. But that is also something that we have decided to focus on because we have the experience. We're in an area of Spain with lots of tourism and there's lots of business opportunities. But it's something we have decided to become the experts of building tourist-based websites.
And then you know exactly what components and what extensions is actually going to be a good fit. You know exactly how to use those extensions without having to learn a new extensions all the time to fit a client need. And you can also understand their business and how their customers are looking for information, what keywords they are using. So you can be the expert in actually more around their business, not just the website, because you have the experience and you know how many could fill in a web form in this industry standard rate. Then if someone says, oh, I don't know if too many people is actually filling in my contact form. Yes, it's actually the average of your industry or not. No, we need to do some fixes here because it seems like you are not optimized enough as the industry standard is.
Yeah, That's that's my main piece of advice. Become the expert, and really that goes for everything. I have a good friend in Joomla, Jisse, who is good at writing technical books.
Yeah.
And he wrote a technical book about how to integrate Joomla, but then he also wrote a book about Joomla and Magento and how they integrate. And he is now, I think, considered a leading expert on Magento, because he kind of got into Magento through this way. And then he saw there was huge performance problems, wrote a book, and because he decided, I think he just decided, there is no expert in this, I will be the expert. And he is the expert. And he is who everybody approaches for this problem. Right? So, yes.
So it's like, so I think that there is a marketplace for anyone that just decides to be the expert and just figure out how to learn as much as possible in that niche and try to focus their messaging around what they can provide as services around that. It will be also much easier for you to get traction that way. So when it comes to Joomla and the volunteerism, we talked about the community. You said like when you came to the JMBO the first time and you saw that there was not just business suits, it was also a really warm community around Joomla, creating Joomla, whatever Joomla is and whatever Joomla will be in the future. That's us using Joomla, contributing to Joomla. And you also mentioned that you have been the department leader for the one of the departments in Joomla. How would you suggest, if I am looking at this broadcast and I think that I would like to feel that feeling of Joomla, but I haven't been part of the community yet, I haven't maybe gone to any of the events yet, how would I take my first stepping steps to be able to join?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to say that you do not have to be a developer at all to contribute in Joomla. I'm not developers. They're not coders. They're organizers. They're people who has good personal skills to get other people to do stuff. They are people who just have passion. I would say that's the prime requirement: have passion. But we need help with everything from graphic design to press releases to code contributions to translations to documentation to legal advice to you can help out. A bit of advice I just wanted to say. The second is there's recently been some changes on what is called the volunteers portal. So you can now go and see which positions are available, or which teams are actively always volunteer for whatever at writing press releases. Then you can always just go in there and say, hey guys, I want to help you write press releases. But there are some teams that are in desperate need of help right now, and they have open positions where they're like, we really need somebody who, in fact, I know, for instance, in our trademark team, we have a need for people to help process tickets because people want to know, am I allowed to use the Joomla logo this way or that way, or the Joomla name and my domain name and stuff like that. So we have a lot of tickets, a lot of questions people asking, and we need to deal with them. And so there's a backlog, and people are currently waiting a long time. So we need people who can just, you don't need to be a legal expert. And they're currently looking for volunteers, but lots of different teams are currently looking for volunteers. And there's a link you can go to, which will be put right here. I don't know if we're going to do that, but it's going to be put in the comment or something like that.
In the comments or in the descriptions.
Where you can see what you're recruiting for. And if you can, it would be a great help. And you really will be helping build something that is unique. And I think that's important maybe for people who don't know really what Joomla is so much. That Joomla is 100% volunteer driven, and it's the only CMS, I think, and one of the biggest, if not the biggest, that does not have a professional company pumping money into it, and pumping doing Joomla is completely volunteer driven, and is made simply because a group of people have come together and decided to build something together. There's no company there that is. Of course, there's legally a company to handle everything, but that's been put together by the volunteers. There's no company behind it.
It's a membership organization, you can say.
Which there is, for instance. Yeah.
So I think that was a really good cue for us to end our conversation today. I think that we can talk a lot longer, but I think that we are up on 1 hour now, and I think that we will start going to the ending part of the show. So, Søren, if someone wants to get in touch with you, what is the easiest way to get in touch with you if there was something in our conversation that sparks an interest of getting in touch and see how?
I pretty much accept any friend invitation on Facebook, especially if it shows that you have a couple of other people from the Joomla sphere on your friend list. So that could be a good way. If not, you're welcome to go to my website, notwebdesign.com, and fill out the contact form. But add me as a friend on Facebook, and we can talk there.
Cool. Great. So thank you so much for joining us today. I think this has been a really valuable conversation to have. I think that there was a lot of good nuggets in our conversation that you shared as good thoughts and big things that we all can use in our own businesses to grow or get more clients or get a better way of marketing ourselves.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, and good luck to all of you out there trying to grow your Joomla business.
Great. So I'm just going to see here how I'm going to do. Thank you so much, Søren. So we're coming to the conclusion of this episode. If you enjoyed this show, I would love you to share it with your friends. The more Joomlers that knows about this show and can get all these really good nuggets and advice from other Joomla businesses, the better. If you like to see the previous episodes, if you missed them, or if this is the first episode you've seen, there is going to be a description link in the or a link in the description to this broadcast. And you can come to the old episodes, and you can also there get a notification and sign up for notifications, so you know when the upcoming ones are. But they are at the same time, same place every Monday. So thank you so much for watching the Pixpro Lab Show, and see you next time. Bye-bye.